left to Elliott.
The shot, Bedoya with a goal, 1-0 Union.
Good evening and welcome to Union Insider. Alongside the club's all-time leading scorer and assist leader, Sebastian Letou, and former Union defender Sheanon Williams, I'm Dave Leno. And guys, the Union continued to rise up the Eastern Conference standings. What have you made how the form has improved over the last couple of games?
I mean, the team really look like, for me, a bit more like they looked last year. I think much more serious defensively. You see they are really eliminating little mistakes they were doing at the beginning of the year, who give up some goals where we are not used to. You saw Andre Blake making one or two big saves that we always, see it and kind of keep the team, above and not giving a lot of goals. And I think it was a good performance overall from the entire team, but it's more the way they look like last year, the way they play, and they're able to score goals as well.
This last 3-game stretch has been a really good one for the Union. You're starting to see the consistency come out that wasn't necessarily there for whatever reason at the beginning of the season. Hopefully they can continue that into these next couple games. They've got some tough ones coming up, Eastern Conference games that will really dictate where they sit in the standings as we close out this beginning portion of the season.
And I agree with you guys, really important for the club to rack up points on the road like they've been doing at home. The Union, in fact, were on the road for their second straight MLS match, but this time they had to travel much further to Commerce City, Colorado. The boys in blue were looking for their third consecutive win, while the Rapids were looking to stay unbeaten for the 8th game in a row at MLS play. Here's how it all went down at Dick's Sporting Goods Park.
Dick's Sporting Goods Park, just outside of Denver, Colorado, sees two teams who have had table-topping seasons in the last couple of years looking to kick on in their current campaign tonight. The Philadelphia Union paying a visit to the Colorado Rapids.
Okay, guys, look, another tough road test for us, all right? Let's have a complete team performance that now gets us 3 league wins in a row, okay? Let's be focused from minute one, all right? We have a fresh, fit group. A fresh fit group that can jump on these guys early. Survive the first 15 minutes. Let's be safety first in the beginning. Good contact on all our clearances. 3 points and we move up the table. Let's go. Let's
go, boys. Let's go. Let's set the tone from the opening whistle. Team on 3. 1, 2, 3.
In some ways, the tactical alignments tonight by both coaches, a mirror image of each other. Interesting to see Jim Curtin going with those 3 centre-backs to match what Robin Fraser does for Colorado. The boys in Burgundy, the Colorado Rapids, will get us underway. They'll be going from right to left in this first half.
The run that we talked about, we're going to start on, all right? This could be our 3rd victory. Let's make sure we stay compact, like Coach said, we're matched up evenly, right? Same formation, same everything. What I want is we match their intensity. We stay compact. Let's work on keeping the shutout, all right? A shutout is crucial, all right? Let's try to get a goal for set piece and win this game. Let's go! Come on! Win on 3. 1, 2, 3. Win! Yes!
The ball here by the home team, looking to make early waves. Diego Rubio trying to force it through the crowd. Cabral on the turn produces an excellent save from Blake. We were just talking about him. Ball bent around the back is beautiful for Carranza, who is in his stride, and Yabra was stranded, but Carranza couldn't find the angle to put it away. The flag in a useful place. Is that a foul on the edge of the area? It was. Diego Rubio trying to spin and turn. 18-yard area. Oh, he's pointed to the spot. He's given it. It's Connor Ronan for the Rapids. And it's 1-0. Dispatched with a high degree of confidence. Running style of his. It's on to Bedoya. Promise here for the Union. Carranza looking to turn, lays it off. Oh, what a shot! And what a goal! Kai Wagner! A goal of the very highest quality. Raw power from the German left back. It's his first of the season, and what a time to get it for the Union. He's perhaps the best passer of the ball in the club. There's good evidence of that as he strings Bizo forward. Bizo's cut back to Carranza. Oh, it's a brilliant goal! The Philadelphia Union at full flow there. Swiftly and deadly to the feet of Julian Carranza. And the Union have come from a goal down to lead against the Colorado Rapids. Rubio with the shots. Turned aside by Blake. on at the second attempt. As Blake decides to make it interesting, Blake is shoved into the boards by Barrios, and now they've taken exception. Michael Barrios has been in the eye of the storm really since he came on, and this has been coming. And after all that, there's not even another kick at the ball, and the Philadelphia Union have emerged with the 3 points. And a fractious end to this encounter.
That was a great result for the Union at Colorado. Now, in full transparency, we're taping the show before the DC matchup on Wednesday. So, guys, we'll center on the Colorado win, that 2-1 victory for the Union, playing in a different formation in a 3-5-2, which they have sported in the past, but it worked out really well.
Yeah, it worked out really well, I think, with Baizo and Wagner, really being able pushing forward. We talk a lot about it in this show where they push forward. This was the team is at their best offensively, and we saw it, with 1 goal from Wagner, a great assist from Baizo. But then I think in the back three, I think Damian Lowe brings a lot, to really put some stability in the back three. You see him with his aggressivity a little bit too much, maybe in the first half, who gives the piquet to Colorado, but he kind of give a little bit more rhythm into the team defensively to be aggressive, win the second ball, and it's great to have him, coming back into the back line and feel like it's kind of like fluid between him, Elliott, and Glesnes. So I think we are kind of surprised to see the 3-5-2, but he really worked out, and you can see really like the thing for me is having Baizo and Wagner, and plus Ura was not playing, and you saw Gazdag in a different position, which was maybe not as good, for him to be on the ball, but we saw him, kind of like making some runs, helping Carranza, and having more Bedoya and Maglin in the midfield, who we all know both of them can really give good balls, and it happened with Maglin on the second goal, who gave a good ball to Baizo on the right side, and Bedoya on the first goal, who tried to find Carranza in the middle of the top of the box, who led the ball back to Wagner. So all of this, I think it was more fluid, but the formation can be a good one for the Union moving on into the rest of the season.
Sheanon and Andre Blake made some fantastic stops, robbing Jonathan Lewis at the end of the game, Diego Rubio before that. What did you make of Blake in the backline's performance?
I thought the back line in front of him did really well. I think, like Seba touched on, getting those wingbacks forward really helped the Union's attack. We saw goals coming from crosses. Kai got his goal. I thought Andre does what Andre does in the back in terms of being on the road, making big saves, and knowing that you're going to have a goalkeeper behind you that's going to come up with some big saves, especially when you're in an environment that's not at home. So I thought he did a really good job of controlling that back line, and then when it was needed, I thought he came up with some huge saves.
Time now for our first team report, presented by Green Mountain Energy. After a road trip that saw 2 victories against tough opponents, the Union are returning to Subaru Park this weekend as they take on the New England Revolution. Here's what head coach Jim Curtin had to say about a squad returning to Chester to defend their home turf.
Yeah, look, I think it starts with their coach. Bruce does a great job with his teams. They battled a ton of different injuries last year, but now you see when their group is getting back together and healthy, they're a handful. They have great wide outside back play from Brian Jones. Carlos Gil, for me, is still probably one of the best players in our league that we have, and especially in attack, but also works hard defensively. And then they've added some real good MLS veterans, and you can see right now they're in a good run of form. They have a week of rest where we have a game midweek, which presents some challenges for sure. But they have a good blend of experienced guys, and Bruce has done a great job developing young guys too. Young kid Buck has been, for me, one of the big surprises in the league so far. So it's a great team from top to bottom. We know how hard it is when we play against New England. We have a real history of tight games and with small margins and some playoff history with them as well. So it's good rivalry and always tough when we get together.
Yeah, it will be a tough game. We're going to play at home. That is a tough place to play for them. They're a good team. They have been playing very well this year. We played against them in preseason, and it was a really hard game. But as I told you, our mentality is just focus on every single game, do our best, and then try to get the points at home.
Probably needs to be said too. I think we're coming into a busy stretch. But the good thing for us in Philadelphia and also probably LAFC, we've already put 17 games on our legs, and our guys are maybe a little further along in terms of fitness as now the schedule gets really congested for the rest of the league.
Guys, these are always thrilling matchups between the Union and New England. New England is coming off of a 2-1 loss at Inter Miami. They have dropped their last 2 games, including the Open Cup loss to Pittsburgh, previously unbeaten in 8. What do you make of the New England team this year, who sit at the top of the table in the East?
I mean, it's a very organized team, very serious. You can see like they're kind of the same type of fullbacks, with Bai and Jones, who love to really go forward and help the team offensively. So they push a lot, forward. But for me, it's like really Carlos Hill, the number 10 of the team, who was the MVP of the league 2 years ago. Last year, maybe was a bit off with some injuries, but this year he really find his way to get the ball, find those pockets. It's very hard to get because every time he's on the ball, something special happens. He's very good in his vision, finding his forward, and he's good. And he scored on the last game against Miami with a very, very good dribbling. 1v1 is very, very strong. So it's somebody I think the team need to really be careful about and don't give him a lot of space.
New England's had a really good start to the season. You see that they're on top of the East, and they're there for a reason. They've been extremely good in front of goal. Seba touched on Carlos Hill. He's really their engine and really makes them tick. He's got 4 assists and 3 goals this season to really lead their team in their attack. So the Union are going to have to do a really good job of getting tight to him and making sure they limit his touches and his passing on the ball.
What is the key to stopping Brandon Bai on the right and DeJuan Jones to the left if they start at the respective positions?
I think it's kind of like a chess match, between the two fullbacks. Who is going to be the one, pushing more forward? But at the same time, I feel it's about possession. Who is going to keep the ball more in the midfield? We know they have Bucks and Polster in the midfield who are very good playing together. Bucks, a young player who is doing a very good first half of the season. Polster, of course, more experienced, who can really help his team with his passing. But who is going to keep the possession will be, I think, the team where you will see more of the fullbacks going forward to kind of help their team.
Georgi Petrovic, their goalkeeper, also Bobby Wood and Veroni are playing up top very well for Bruce Arena's team. And that does it for this week's First Team Report. We're stepping away for a bit, but first, let's take a look at this week in Union history presented by Premier Orthopedics. This week in 2018, the Union played host to Real Salt Lake, where they would defeat their Western Conference foes by a final score of 4-1. The Union saw goals from 4 different players in this one, with Bork Dochkal and Marcus Epps tallying a goal and 2 assists each. We're back with Throwback Thursday, presented by United Concordia. Keeping with the May of 2019 theme, the Union clobbered the Revolution 6-1 at Subaru Park on May 4th of that season. This offensive onslaught included 2 goals from Sergio Santos just 5 minutes apart from each other in the second half. Welcome back with Sebastian Letou and Sheanon Williams. I'm Dave Leno with the team hosting a Revolution side who's near the top of the Supporter Shield race. I'll ask these two for their keys to the game, as always presented by Subaru. Sebastian, what do you have?
I'm going with don't let too much time on Carlos Hill. We talk about it a lot in this show. I think for me, he's the player who really runs the offense from the New England Revolution. He's very good on the ball. He's very good, finding those pockets between the line to get the ball, and then, with his first touch, moving and dribbling or finding right away the pass. He's very good to go on the left side, right side to try to do like a 2v1, 3v2. He's very smart, in his movement, and when he's on the ball and he's facing the game, he's very dangerous. He looked like a little bit me like a gas bag, in the team. So I think we need to have somebody always close to him to make sure that he doesn't have as much time on the ball, and he need to play a quick pass and not be able to dribble at the defense. So communication will be the key, I think, for the Union, and between the lines, depending on which way they are going to play, maybe a 4-4-2, maybe, a 3-5-2. It will depend about what Jim Curtin decides to do, but a good communication between the defense and who is holding midfielder for the team will be very important.
No doubt one of the best playmakers in MLS in Carlos Hill. What's your key?
My key to the game is going to be the battle of the fullbacks. We know these are 2 teams that really like to use their fullbacks to attack and get crosses into the box. It's going to be important for the Union to do a good job of keeping possession to allow Kai and Mbaizo. We saw Kai with 3 goals over the last couple games, and Mbaizo with the assist last game against Colorado. So we know what they can do when they're allowed to get forward. Can the Union do a good job of keeping the possession to allow them to get forward?
I was watching some tape recently of New England against FC Cincinnati, and Dylan Barrero did get hurt in the Cincinnati matchup. A key miss for Bruce Arena's team moving forward out of the midfield.
Yeah, I mean, he was bringing a lot of energy, lots of 1v1, being very good. He got some goals already, but, terrible injury for him ending his season. So it's going to be a good news for the Union, but I think, Bruce Arena is going to miss him a lot.
Let's now take a look at some of the action from Matchday 12 in MLS on a new segment called Around the League, presented by Torque. Omir Fernandez scored in the 76th minute of the Hudson River Derby, and that was enough for the New York Red Bulls to defeat New York City FC at Red Bull Arena by a score of 1-0. And finally, this goal by Josef Martinez in the 44th minute put Inter Miami up for good as they went on to upset the Revolution down in Fort Lauderdale by a score of 2-1. Up next, one of the club's most recent acquisitions gets the spotlight in this week's player profile as we discuss the impact that Damian Lowe has had on the back line as of late. That and more when Union Insider returns. We're back with our Nugget of the Week presented by Chick-fil-A. Midfielder and team captain Alejandro Bedoya registered his 30th career MLS assist on Saturday night, surpassing former Union player Haris Medunjanin for third most assists in club history. Welcome back to Union Insider. I'm Dave Leno. The Union have a ton of talent on the defensive side of the ball. That is more apparent than ever with the recent play of Damian Lowe. The Jamaican international has started recent games for the club and continues his play alongside whether it's Jacob Glesnes or Jack Elliott. And guys, when he does get the call to go into the starting lineup or come in off the bench, he's been a key piece in the back in front of Andre Blake. What have you made of his performances?
I mean, I'm very happy for him that he's taking his chances and really makes the best out of it. He's been very strong. Maybe the little mistake we saw was against Colorado. We got the PK because we can see what I love about him. He's very aggressive. You know, he's really trying to win the ball time, don't give a lot of time to the forward. But on this play, it was maybe a little bit too much to give the PK. But at the end, the team got the win, so we kind of forgot about this. But I really feel like in the air, he's so impressive. He can really win a lot of ball. He can really help the team on corner kicks. You know, he give one, bigger body for Kai Wagner to find in the box on a free kick. So he's being, I think, very serious, very good when he got his name called upon. You know, it's kind of like when you're a player and you don't play a lot and you know you have Jacob Glesnes and Jack Elliott, who were one of the best center backs in the league last year. Maybe I'm not going to play a lot and maybe your confidence go low, but he stay high and he play very well every time he play on the field.
It's not always easy to be consistent, especially when you're not in the games every game. So he's done a really good job of when being called upon, stepping up and playing well. And that's also given the Union some flexibility in the way that they can change their system and go into that back three. I think he's really solidified, if they are in that back three, that he's part of it. So good job on his part to really step up and show that he could be a useful asset to the team as he's come over.
And whether, guys, they're playing at a 4-4-2 diamond or the 3-5-2 like we saw in Colorado, I love the fact that the Union are very confident playing a high line. What do you make when Lowe's out there, whether it's with Elliott or Glesnes? But the fact that the team in general is playing much higher, maybe since last year.
I think it just gives more confidence to Wagner and Baizo on the games in Colorado, just because they know they have three guys behind them. So if they do a mistake or maybe they misread the ball, they can be covered, much quicker. So I think it's a good thing for the team. And like Sheanon said, I really like this point. He really gives now flexibility to Jim Curtin to be like, okay, I have three very good center backs. So when I need to come at three, I can play even changing during the game and just have, maybe Damian Lowe coming in the middle of the game to help, the team get the whisk with Baizo and Wagner. So it's been a very good job and he really helped for sure Baizo and Wagner to push more forward.
Sheanon, as a former defender, how do you work on your running, in particular when you're a step behind the forwards? Because I saw that a lot in the Colorado game where Damian Lowe salvaged a couple times some key possessions and some key chances for Colorado. And maybe where he was a step or two behind, he got back to make a nice tackle. But how do you guys work on that and play to carry that out for a game?
A lot of it has to do with just reading the game and trying to be a couple steps ahead of the forwards. Sometimes you're going to get caught. There's some really good players in this league, and he's obviously still young and learning. He'll do a better job of reading the game better as he starts to get more minutes, and I think you're starting to see that with his play as well.
We're stepping away one more time, but when we come back, Seba and Sheanon pinpoint the player they'll watch closely for this matchup against New England. We're wrapping up this edition of Union Insider on the other side. Starting this year, every Union League match is on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Sign up tonight to make sure you don't miss a minute of the action. You can also check out the live whip-around show, MLS 360. Or if you missed out live, you can relive every moment with full match replays. And get this, if you're a T-Mobile subscriber, you get this whole year of Season Pass content free of charge. Final segment here on Union Insider. It's now time for our All-State players to watch. Both Seba and Sheanon have selected a player who hopefully will have a great game against New England. Sebastian, who are you rolling with?
I'm going with Jacob Glesnes. I think, to beat New England, you might need to get a clean sheet and be very serious defensively. So I think he has been pretty good already from the beginning of the season. But I think, he can really step up a bit more, and having, Carlos Hill in his zone might be important for him, to try to marking at some times, or maybe Mark Vironi, Wood, who can, make some good runs. And we don't know if they're going to play in a 3 in the back or 2 in the back against New England, but I think it can be a strong performance for our, number 5 in the back to keep, the clean sheet against New England and get the win. And hopefully, maybe we can see him, carrying the ball like he likes sometimes, and hearing all the fans saying shoot, like we always see him, with this strong shot from 35 yards out, or maybe on a free kick. But I can see maybe he can score a goal against New England this weekend.
I love that. I love when he's dribbling 15, 20 yards. Maybe the coaches might not like that at points, right, guys? But I know the crowd certainly roars when that occurs. Sheanon, who's your player?
I'm going to go with the center back pairing of Jack Elliott. For me, he's going to be really important in this game. We know that New England's at the top of the standings, and he and also Glesnes are going to have to do a really good job of being tight to not only the forwards, but also Carlos Heel, who will drop into those pockets in the midfield and look to get on the ball. So going to look for them to do a really good job, and especially Jack being a good pairing with Glesnes to really be the partnership and get that 0 in the game.
Yep, maybe another clean sheet for Andre Blake and company. Well, that will do it for us tonight. Of course, you could watch this game between the Union and New England on MLS Season Pass. Sheanon and I will have the radio play-by-play call on Saturday night on 97.5 The Fanatic. Seba will be flying down to Austin for the Austin-Toronto game on MLS Season Pass. For Sebastian Latou and Sheanon Williams, I'm Dave Leto. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.